Okay, so if you're thinking about replacing your stock OEM speakers with much nicer ones, here's a tutorial for you and a conclusion afterwards. These are the materials you will need to do it, at least in a 98 Rolla. We got some sound deadening, which is just whatever old foam, that's memory foam. We got some sealant and some glue to adhere the foam. We have a harness, which we will have to chop up. We have some electrical tape, screwdrivers, various assortments. You'll need some wire strippers, pliers, wire crimpers, wire cutters, scissors, and possibly needle noses if stuff goes wrong. You'll need crimps, or you can solder wires, but I like to crimp them. You'll also need adapter plates if you have different speakers, which you most likely will because it's a really weird mount. And of course you need your aftermarkets. I picked these up for $60 for a pair of two, Crutchfield. Really nice Hertz X130s, super nice. The first step is going to be to remove this screw in here. With the screw removed, you're going to want to remove this door handle assembly. So you can see it slides left and right. Slide it to the front of the car. And from there, you just got to get your fingers under it and kind of pry it out. Okay, I lied a little bit. It doesn't just come out. There's a little white clip in there. You can see it right there. It's clipping onto a rod that connects to where the door opens. You got to grab your flat head screwdriver and just snap the clip off a little bit. You can just grip it by the top there. I can't show you on camera, but once the clip is off, there's a little rod that pokes down through the assembly. So just removing the rest of the assembly, you can use a screwdriver in here, flick that rod up, like you can see how it's out now. That should allow you to get better grip on it and remove the rest of it. Okay, so it took a little prying. The other one was really easy. This one was a little more sticky. There's two clips right there. Get the flathead under, just twist it. Okay, with that removed, we'll put that out there. Your next step is gonna be pry this thing up. Again, you're gonna wanna take your flathead screwdriver and you're just gonna wanna wiggle it under there and then push straight up because the clips go straight down. So in order to minimize damage, and there's one here and two here, if I remember correctly. You'll see it pop up like that. Comes off just like that. Oh, and there's one in the middle too. So I'll put that right next to our thing. Next step, there's a screw here, screw here. They both require Phillips heads, medium-sized Phillips bits. Remove them fully. Here comes arguably the hardest part, removing that stupid hand crank. So there's a thing called a crank tool, hand crank remover, I don't know. It's pretty inexpensive, and if you have enough foresight, you can order one off Amazon. I was doing this spur of the moment. I got the speakers, I was so excited to get them in, not about to wait 2 days for that shipment. So what you gotta do is you put the crank in the down position, you take a rag, and then, I can't do it with one hand, but you're gonna work that rag in this seam right here, because there's a little clip in there that clips down on either side, and what the rag does is it pushes the sides of the clip out, and it'll pop up, and then you'll be able to remove the crank. Okay, I'll show you how to do it here. Take it down right, move it up under the crank in the down position, and just work it up. Sometimes you gotta move the crank a little bit, because sometimes the clip isn't always right in the down position. And sometimes it's in the up position. It was down on the other door, so I assumed it would be down. Heard that sound? That is the sound of the clip falling. So ignore my previous things. Doesn't need to be in the down position. Once you hear that little ding, you know it's ready to come off. Perfect. Now we can remove this door panel. One thing, some cars will have a little plastic rivet here. They're supposed to. This one had it. I removed it off camera and it shot out. So no clue where it is. It wasn't on the other door though. Falls out over time. Then you can get a screwdriver back here and work it if it's really tight. If not, you can just use your hand. And if I can do this on camera, which I think is a resounding no. Oh, okay. Yep, never mind. The door panel will just kind of pop off like that. And if you're like me, you'll have these little pieces of paper. Now, the very last step to actually removing this panel is this little panel right here. It can be easy, it can be hard. Generally pretty easy. Just wrap your fingers around it, pull from the top. There's one little thing that keeps it in right there. And fun fact, if you ever need to remove your mirror, that's how you do it. Okay, next you're gonna take this panel and you're gonna just lift up on it like this. See? You gotta clear your little lock in a 98 Rolla at least. There. So now we get a better look at this factory speaker. As you can see, it has this little foam surround, or this cardboard surround, which is just disintegrating. I'm not gonna reattach that. Yeah, I know it makes sound quality better and whatnot, but I mean, come on. It's a 98 Rolla, it's a shit box. Like, what are we expecting? Your biggest step, you're gonna need a drill, which I forgot to include in the thing. I'm going back and I'll edit that in. So you're gonna drill out with a 1/4-inch drill bit, these rivets, and just spin it around. I'll show. Okay, 1/4-inch drill, and then you're just gonna line it up with the rivet, and this is gonna make a little bit of a mess. Until it just spins off like that. I advise you to collect that later, because those things are flippin' hot. I touched one earlier and almost burned myself. You're gonna do that for all three. It may look like the speaker can come off, but you're gonna have to do the exact same thing again, because there's little plastic bits. Well, you'll definitely know when the speaker's loose, because it kind of starts doing that. This is the last one. I was gonna use this as a demonstration, but you just gotta do the same thing as the metals. Just work it in a hole, okay? We'll just snap that off. Now your speaker's loose. So in here, when Crutchfield sells you new speakers, they're gonna say, oh, do you want the speaker brackets and do you want the speaker harnesses? Say yes to both. You want the brackets for sure, because whatever speakers you're gonna get, pretty sure they aren't gonna have this whatever triangle alien looking at bracket this is gonna be. In a 98 Corolla, at least mine, they're hardwired in, which is really kind of sucks, which means that you're going to have to crimp the brackets. Hence why I have crimpers, hence why I have those shrink tubes or whatever you want to call them, butt connectors. Here we can see Mexico speaker, Mexicans. Up in Canada, we love Mexicans, okay? Appreciation to all my Mexican buddies out there. 15-watt speaker, yeah, just bargain bin, right? Sounds actually pretty decent. I mean, it's got your little plastic cone, but yeah, it's time for an upgrade. It's kind of starting to disintegrate. This is way too soft. So your next step is you're going to want to detach the speaker from this plastic bit, right? To do that, you're just going to use your thumb, work your thumb all around, like so. It's going to sound like you're breaking it. You may be, depending on how brittle your plastic is. You will want to reinstall these because they're water guards. And you will need a little modification for the mounts if you're mounting some Hertz speakers like I am. But modification is done with a pair of scissors, hence why I have scissors. Here's where the fun part comes in. So we've got black and we've got red. You're going to want to leave a tiny bit of this wire so you remember which one's positive and which one's negative, right? Now, there's this part right here, this little clip that's holding it in. If you just pull up on this wire, it's going to come out. If not, you can grab pliers and grab the end, some needle noses. Hence why I have them, again. And then, once you have these clipped, and once you have this taken out, you can remove this and set it to the side for later. And just to reiterate, you want to use your wire clippers. And there we have it. Your stock speaker is completely out. Do what you want with it. I mean, it would be a great little, put it in a plywood box as a garage speaker, or stick it on your backpack or something, I don't know. Or you could just chuck it, take it to the eco stations. You're going to want to select your wire strippers. You're going to want to strip about 1/4 of an inch off the end of these wires, which is going to be really hard to do while I'm holding a camera, so I'm just going to put it down. With raw exposed wires, you're going to want your butt connectors. That was the struggle. And these are a little longer than 1/4. Should work fine. You can twist them. You don't really need to as long as they're stiff. And you're just going to insert a butt connector on one end and crimp it down. Which, man, camera, I cannot hold and do. Voila, through the power of editing, it's on. Next, you're going to grab your harness. Because, for whatever reason, this Corolla doesn't have this connector on it. The harness set is for a 96 Tacoma. Don't know why Crutchfield thought it would work, but whatever. So what we're going to do, wire cut these as close as possible to this thing. And then you're going to crimp strip the bare ends. Oh, my days. Oh, great. Strip the bare ends, and then you're going to crimp them in the other side here, and then we'll take our electrical tape and wrap it all up because we want it pretty much waterproof in case water leaks in the door. Just to confirm, black always goes to black here. Another good pointer is get yourself a good pair of wire crimpers. I had a bad pair for a while, and man, oh man, does it make such a difference to have a nice pair of wire crimpers. By nice, I mean thicker, good rubber handles, and to have something that can actually crimp. Man, I can actually crimp these things. And don't put the thing in there, you use the little teeth. Can't do anything today. But you use the teeth, good pair of wire crimpers is gonna save you so much time. If you get the pair where you squeeze it and then it goes and like bends sideways, that's not gonna work. That's gonna take you forever to get. Now, as I mentioned before, you're gonna take some electrical tape. Ignore the gay pose here. I'm just trying to get my tape open. For the magic of editing, they're all in. Not saying I did a good job on any of them. You can see there's lots of gaps. The gaps, the biggest gaps are going to be these. We can electrical tape over this and electrical tape this side too if you want to keep it really sealed. Again, power of editing will help me with that. Once you have your speaker all prepared, you're going to come back to your door. You're going to want to slide your little weather shield. It's dusty. I'm not even bothering cleaning it off, okay? Whatever. The foam, check if it's still good. Wow, that was a camera shot. Check if it's still good. In my case, my foam has not dried out or anything, and I don't feel like putting new foam on it. You're gonna run your wire through there first of all, because if you don't, that's bad. So we put that there to remind ourselves that that has to go there. Now we must get these rivets out before we can connect it and before we can actually screw it in. To get the rivets out, you're gonna wanna grab a 5/32 bit on your drill, and we're gonna drill into here, I'll show, and then hopefully once it's drilled out enough, you can either push it with pliers or pull it with pliers. Push, pull, yeah, motions, okay? You get the point. Needle nose pliers are, if they get stuck in there, you can grab the needle nose, chuck them on the ground, and then put them in the garbage. Be responsible. Unlike the previous ones, you're just going to want to drill straight into the center of them until it does that. In this case, we'll have to grab the needle nose. It can be a little forceful. You got to put some force behind it. Put down in the comments below what your favorite tool brand is. I personally used DeWalt. After successfully getting the rivets out, in my case, I don't know where they went. And the door doesn't rattle, so I'm not worrying about them. One ended up down there, that's it. So now we're going to connect the speaker up. Fat goes to fat, skinny goes to skinny. Pretty obviously, they're not going to fit in either one. So you're going to want to get some really thick metal screws, because you're going to want thick enough that it's going to kind of almost drill out the hole and grab. I say that because they give you speed clips which can go on the back, and then you can drill into the clip, kind of like a nut or something. But where am I supposed to reach into the door to hold it? So we're going the easy route, a little more destructive to your car. But if you're doing a 98 Corolla to a 2002, that's the generation that came out in North America, I'm pretty sure you're not going to be doing another speaker upgrade because they're pretty junk cars by now. And here's where the modification comes in. So you're going to mount these through the same hole and make sure the guard, actually I should have made sure. Make sure the guard. What I was saying is make sure that the guard lines up correctly. Right now it doesn't, because you want the drip guard to be at the top, so if water runs down, it goes around the speaker, not collects at the bottom to feed it into the speaker. But what you're going to have to do is, once you have it lined up correctly, these tabs are going to be sticking too far out to use. So you're just going to cut a little on the side. I'm going to do it right now. I'm sorry. I have two hands. I need two hands, but I'll show you. As you can see, I've cut it out. So you can see it's malleable enough plastic that you can just cut it with scissors. Now we're going to mount it up here. Now, if you put enough consideration into it, and please do, make the drip guard so it covers the terminals. In this case, it just barely covers the outside. I should have mounted it so the Hertz logo was facing up or down so the terminals were covered, but whatever. Okay, this may seem a little random, especially because this is already done. I filmed everything. Then, before I was just about to mount it, remembered, this isn't necessary. I don't even know how much of a difference this will make, but people online use specialty made cans that go around here, and I'm just like, I've got some old chunks of memory foam, let's put that in there. So what we're gonna do is, in here you can see that's the window. I have it rolled down. I should probably roll the window up a little bit. We're just gonna stick that right there. You're going to want to put some weather strip adhesive.
What?
I use weather strip adhesive because it's really sticky, and you don't have to do the instructions. Just glue it on there, smack, and that's that. Although first, here's a fun tip. You can just slot your crank on and crank your window up if you need to. And then chuck it back over there. This stuff is incredibly gloopy. Do not get it on your hands. I did like 7 hours ago or whatnot. Still can't get it off my hand. So try not to do it. I need 2 hands for this to make sure I do it right. But just stick it back there. Okay, it's back there. Now we're going to mount the speaker. I'm going to mount the top hole, and then I'll show you what I do. What I do is literally just use a screwdriver. So it's not that complicated. Now that the top screw is mounted, all you got to do is you pick a rather thick screw out of here. They should be a little longer. Not too long. You don't want them super long. If they're too long, they're going to hit the window. Believe me, I know more about speaker installation than anybody. Yes, it's so great, it's so big, it's so awesome. Gotta get the impersonation there? So yeah, you're just gonna take your thing. Once you get the top hole in, it's quite easy because obviously it just lets everything do its job. It keeps everything in its place. And you're just gonna turn. Sing a little song to yourself while you're doing it. Boom. Magic of editing will get that one speaker. Now, if I may suggest something, it's testing your speaker out before you put your door panel back on. Because if you forgot to connect something, or if it's gonna be buzzy or something. Nice and clear. Decent bass, actually, from a 5-inch. Yeah, so nice and clear. Like I said, decent bass from a 5-inch speaker, or 5.5, whatever these are. They came with 6 or 6.5s, but the thing is, the mounting depth is so shallow in these cars that Crutchfield won't allow you to get the free bracket and the free adapter option if you select a 6. And then these brackets are like $25, so I'm not paying an extra $25. I was like, I'll take the smaller one. I'm going to install a sub, right? I'll get a video on that soon. So, yeah, congratulations, you did it. Now, for the absolute worst part is you want to go drive, you want to enjoy your vehicle, but then you realize your armrest is missing, and your crank is missing, and your door handle is missing. It's going to be a pain to get the handle back on, but you have to put the door panel on first because you must slide it down over the stupid lock, right? So, it is what it is. I'm not going to show pretty much any of this except the hard part, which is the handle, because it's literally just the reverse of what we did earlier, taking it off. So you just want to bang it all on by doing that, right? Give it a few solid whacks. Get your anger out on it. You grab your armrest. Like I said, this doesn't need to be shown, but yeah, take your anger out on it. Now the handle is the trickiest part. It's kind of cool. You can see the inner workings, the spring. So what's going to happen is you can see this little hole right here. The rod is going to have to go sit down in this hole, and then you're going to have to get this stupid little clip back on the rod. I found what was easiest is you put the thing kind of half in there, you manipulate the rod so it goes down, and then you can just grab a flathead and push it against. But whatever works for you. Well, the second time I did this, don't put this thing on before you do the stupid screws. This will be out of order because I don't want you to make the same mistake. Now the final step, which I struggled with at first until I found out the method. So you're going to put that there. Why it's off center right now, I don't know. This is a little plastic washer. It popped out of the door at the beginning. Then you're going to take your crank, wherever that was, and your clip, which you shouldn't have lost if you put it in a safe place. In here, I just kind of stick everything important in this little molding. Ooh, yeah. Okay, so you're going to put your clip on this thing. Let's see if I can do it on camera. So you got your focus. Yes, focus. You want to put your clip right there. Now, at first, I was struggling with this. I was trying to put the handle on, then get the clip on, because I was like, oh, it's not going to work, because see, it doesn't fit on. But what I found out is you just got to get it on there and then give it a good smack. And it goes on. Look at that. And I might have lied. I forgot about that trim piece, which is really easy. It's one clip. Now, in higher models, if you have a higher model, I got the base model, right? Like crank windows, obviously. There's a little tweeter here. And I suppose if you wanted to go just the woofer down there, you could make a cutout and do that. But, you know, this is my first install, and I'm not about to do all that. Congratulations. It's all together once I put this piece. Psych, I did it again. Congratulations, it's done. I hope you followed this long, and thank you. Part 2 will have reactions and stuff, and opinions. By the way, the conclusion was that the very cheap speakers were worth it, and go do it right now.